Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. It's about time that we started doing things a little backwards from what we're used to. Communication is critical on the home front, especially in today's world where everybody is trapped together. So there's a couple of places that we've been talking about regarding where to have certain talks. Negative communication is a primary concern at this point. Okay, the second place now, in the last video we talked about the issue of negative communication as you're coming home from either work or from school, wherever. The second place that we avoid negative conversation is at the dinner table. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, there are three primary meals of a day, as far as I grew up with: breakfast, lunch, and supper, or dinner, call it what you will. Okay, now the thing is, some cultures don't have all three meals, but every culture has a meal. Everybody has to eat. And like we said before, pick one meal where the family gets together. Doesn't matter if it's breakfast, if it's lunch, or if it's supper. It depends on how your life goes. But the point being, on that one meal that you're together, turn the phone off, turn the TV off, turn the radio off. Sit down as a family at the dinner table. Okay, this is the time to catch up with each other. This is the time to talk about what's going on. Now, obviously, there will be conflicts that come to light. The key with conflicts is acknowledge the fact that they are there. They have to be dealt with. You don't brush them aside and go, "We're not dealing with it." The trick with them is to take that negative issue and go, "Okay, we're not going to talk about it at the dinner table. Okay, we are going to talk about it as soon as the meal is finished and we've cleaned up from the meal. Then we're going to go into the sitting room or the living room, call it what you will, and we're going to discuss it there." That way, the energy around the table stays happy, stays relaxed, and frankly, digestion happens a lot more readily. Okay, so the real catch here is to make sure that once the meal is finished, you clean up and you go and deal with the situation. Now, it doesn't matter if it's an adult to adult problem, adult to child, or child to child. Everybody that's at the table, move them into the living room, move them in, and sit down and discuss the problem. Because any conflict in the house will affect everybody in the house, even if it's not technically theirs. Now, the real complicated part here is there's a lot of topics that people have talked about to me that said they don't like discussing with their kids. And I'm not going to tell you that all conversations are easy, but I will tell you that all conversations are necessary. If they're not going to learn from you, who are they going to learn from? Okay, now I'm not going to get into the real complicated ones. The critical factor is this: have the meal with only having the positive side of conversation, the jovial side, the things that people have accomplished that they're doing that they're happy with. And the easiest way to tell if it's a good conversation is if you're bringing it up, if it is something you can stand up and proudly go, "I did this," okay, and not have everybody upset. So it's got to be a positive thing. Okay, if you can stand there and go, "I did this," or "I accomplished this," and be proud of it, it's likely a good topic to have around the table. Remember, karmic law: do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. When the meal is finished, okay, if a conversation comes up that is negative, or if there's a problem that arises, immediately acknowledge it, but shut the conversation down momentarily, with the simple commitment that as soon as the meal is finished, then we will go to the living room, or we'll go to the sitting room, whatever you call it, and we will sit and we will sort this out. At that point, finish your meal, finish the positive conversations, get the meal wrapped up, get the stuff cleaned up and put away, then go and sit down and discuss it. Everybody that was at the table, get them all in the living room. It may seem a little overstated, but think of this. If it was annoying enough to bring it up in front of everybody, it's going to affect everybody, no matter what it is. So sit down in the sitting room and have the discussion, get it out in the open. Okay, this is what the idea is. You've got to get that topic out, you've got to get it dealt with, or it's simply going to fester. The reason I say it's going to is with roughly 80,000 clients under my belt over the last 45 years. This is a standard problem that I see on a regular basis. So when we're talking about what's going on, okay, again, you maximize the positive at the dinner table. If something positive happens, or if there's a positive tale to tell, or a funny little encounter, okay, absolutely play with it as best you can. The negative ones, you shut them down quickly, get them into the living room after the meal is cleaned up from. Now, of course, people will tell me that, well, you can't do that. It's in the moment that the person wants to talk. Probably is. I will not argue that point, and it's certainly easier when your emotions are running high to let your mouth run, but unfortunately there's very little that actually comes of it. Most of the time, what you'll find happen is the negative topic comes up, emotions get lit, things are said, and nobody listens to anybody. Okay, so all it is rehashing of what went wrong, or how somebody's feelings have been hurt, or how somebody created a problem. But nobody actually is calm enough on the whole. And I will say, like I said, on the whole, most people are not calm enough to really hear the conversation and really exchange what's going on. Now, it's seldom that a problem gets solved in one sitting. But the moment it's brought to light, you can work through part of it, take a break if you have to, and come back to it again. Do not give up on the complicated concepts. Now, in this time of change right now, this terrible transition we're going through, with COVID-19, we are going to come through this. We are going to get out of it. Okay, talk to the seniors that are still, thankfully, still are able to remember, the ones that lived through the Great Depression. They will explain to you how they got through this sort of a problem. This is not, or if you've got, unfortunately, people that were in concentration camps. Talk to them how they got through these horrendous things that seem to go on forever and managed to survive them. Okay, this whole thing with COVID will come to a close. The trick is that as it's going through it, it is time to rebuild everything. Okay, it is time to make some pretty serious changes around your house, around your work, around your business, the whole 9 yards. Communication is only one aspect. So again, no negative conversation at the dinner table. The one meal of the day where everybody sits down at the table and converses and catches up on what went on from the day. And remember, parents, the little kids in your family, even the tiny wee ones, they've got something to say too, and especially with the little ones that are still in high shares, all they may want is somebody to watch them and to giggle with them. That may be their concept of a conversation. Okay, but it is just as important to them as it is to you. As your situation is to you. This goes to the siblings and your brothers and sisters and what have you as well. It may not be something that catches your interest, but what's going on in their life is very important to them. Okay, now I am deliberately keeping these ones a little short. Okay, which I probably don't have to tell you because I'm about to say we are going to talk about the next aspect. Now, the last one was about when you're coming home. This one is about the dinner table. The next video in this series on the communication that I'm doing we'll be relying around the third area to stay away from with negative conversation, which is the bedroom. And we will get to that next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.